What is up, everybody? Happy Sunday. Hope you guys all had a good weekend so far. Welcome to another episode of the Black Line Brief. I'm your host, Matthew McKim. We're going to have a good show today. Well, a lot going on. It's been a crazy 24 hours. I just want to touch on something that after yesterday's live, the video itself got struck with copyright, which I was talking to other individuals about that, and it should be covered under fair use. I didn't play anything in its full entirety without adding some sort of commentary. It is for the public, information. Let me pull up what I have here to go over what it says. Right here. I'll make it bigger for you guys. Hold on one second. All right. Let's see. All right. So what you're referring to is fair use section or under section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Act 1976. It's the legal doctrine that allows creators to use limited portions of copyrighted material in their own content without permission if the use meets certain criteria, right? The law states that using copyrighted material for purposes like criticism, yep, that's what I was doing. Commentary, yep. News reporting, you could possibly say that, depends. Teaching, definitely, like for the public. Scholarship, no, or research is not considered copyright infringement. So a commonly cited disclaimer reads something like this. Copyright disclaimer under section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research, which 100%, that's what we were doing, right? And so it's interesting to see why some videos get dinged with that and others don't. Focusing on Erika Kirk, and it was Universal, which is interesting. That's her uncle worked for that, for Universal. It had to do with just the content I used showing her pageant stuff. But so when it gives you the prompt, it immediately makes the video you can't view it anywhere. So it totally takes it down, which does hurt the video and hurts the channel, because momentum is key with these videos. They get out, the views from the live stream, the likes, the comments, the engagement, all that helps the algorithm. And it was doing good. It was a good video. We had like 300 and something people active live through the whole thing, which is good for a channel my size. It's decent. And so when it came to be available after we ended, it would have performed well, but when they ding it, and no one can click on it worldwide, and I didn't even know. Mystic reached out to me, and then my wife reached out to me and let me know. YouTube gives you a prompt, and it says like, for these reasons, your video's been hit with copyright, and then it gives you prompts as to like how to resolve the issue. And one of the quickest ways just to get it back up and visible to everyone is it decides, like it is selected already what segments need to be edited out, cut out, and you just have to click a button and it does it for you. And I had done that twice because it showed like two different portions and thought I was good. And me and the fam went to a movie. And then when I got out, it still wasn't available. So now it's like 3 hours after the video had posted that momentum was going to be it's going to hurt it. So then I click on it again. I'm like, I had already selected that portion to be edited. And then I did it again. And then it took a while. And then it finally went back up. It's since done pretty good. It's a decent performing video. But nonetheless, my point is just this. It shouldn't have been struck with copyright anyway. I continually pause all my stuff. That's one of the things that some people criticize me on is that I pause and I comment on it. Well, you kind of have to. If you're playing anyone else's content at any point, you gotta add commentary, which is what I do. And so it shouldn't have It really shouldn't have had any issues at all, but it did, which is interesting. And it had to do with Erika Kirk. But yeah, so if anyone hasn't seen that, or you go back at a different time and just write a comment over there, hit a like on it or something, maybe helps it boost it back up. All right. So a lot's going on today, right? Everyone, if you guys watched Barron's show today, I thought he had some good points in explaining like what is a patsy and what Barron believes Tyler's possible role was. And in speaking with my father-in-law, he had a lot of questions on a couple things that I just want to clarify for people that maybe are confused about some things. What was with the whole Fort Huachuca thing? Well, no one really knew what Fort Huachuca was. I mean, probably people in military and intel and government and things like that, but the public at large didn't have any idea about Fort Huachuca until this whole incident came up. And I think, from my understanding, what's really being alleged is that if the government and the military and high up officials were involved in this in some way, they would have needed a safe, secretive, classified kind of area to have done some test runs of that day, to run through the timing, to have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, a plan D. It came up, right, that in John Bray's theory of the exploding mic theory, Butch Hibbs, the brother of Jack Hibbs, looked like he had what seemed to be the outline of the same size of the road mic in his pocket on the day of. They had also, and Barron had touched on this too, so the government contract to fill these micro-shaped charges was at Accurate Energetic Systems in Tennessee. The contract was done August 24th or 25th, and it looked like a flight out of the town in which Butch Hibbs is from. There was a flight that flew into, I think, the nearest airport to Accurate Energetic Systems. And it is theorized that it's possible Butch, or even if it wasn't Butch, someone had to pick up the micro-shaped charges that Accurate Energetic Systems created. And that they would have had to bring, and they would have had multiple of them. They wouldn't have just bought one. They would have needed to test it a couple times to run through to see how it worked, to see if it was going to work, and to see if there was any issues. And so that's when they would have picked it up and brought it somewhere. Well, a military base would be a great place. And it just so happens that like Erika, Andrew Colvett, Blake Neff, and others have family members or have themselves been on Fort Huachuca before in the past. And it's a deep intel base, and possibly is where they do training for people to learn how to become undercover Christians, right? Well, Mitch Snow was there on the 8th, and he didn't think anything of this until after the assassination, after the memorial, when he started to see some of the same people online on TV that he thinks he saw at Fort Huachuca on the 8th and the 9th. Well, on the 8th, the night of the 8th, he thinks he saw, and he's claiming he saw Erika Kirk and Cabot Phillips the night of the 8th. And then he's claiming, and he believes that he saw Brian Harple, Cabot Phillips, like some sort of politician that I don't think has been verified yet, and then high-level military officers meeting. And it looked like a secret meeting, and it looked like this, certain area of the base that was suspicious. And it just so happens that some of those people ended up, some of the people that he saw there were on Charlie Kirk's security detail. And he knew that after Brian Harple came out and did the Sean Ryan show. And so he just brought that to Candace and said he thought this was very weird and suspicious. And it continues to be, because no one that he claimed to be there that day for Mitch, that he said he saw there, no one has given an actual true alibi, and no one has actually said they weren't there. Okay. Cabot said he was, gave an alibi didn't check out. Brian Harple gave like an itinerary, kind of like a receipt for his flight, not actual proof that he was on the flight. Erika Kirk produced a picture for the morning of the 9th, because that's when the meeting happened, right? That Mitch Snow proved that he was there. He has pictures. There's a military police record of them detaining him. His son even verified it on the Gary Melton show. But so the morning of the 9th is the picture that Erika Kirk sent of her thumb over the faces of these two children who aren't her kids, because her kids are like 1.5 and 3.5. And these kids are much older. And it's not even for the right date, right? And when Candace brought that out, she was like, can you make it the right date? Anyway, no one's produced any alibis. So how it's connected to the assassination is that they think that's where they planned. And I believe it too. That's my theory, that that's where they practiced and did some test runs with the exploding mic, getting the timing, getting the signs, and then running through any potential, like, if this happens, then this, if this, and then that. So, yeah. And then, the whole, how does Tyler Robinson fit into all of this? I don't think anyone really knows for sure. Even Barron today. So he's either a complete patsy and had like absolutely nothing to do with this. Maybe was blackmailed, right? Or threatened by, I don't know, the feds or intel, if they had some compromising material on him, like, hey, you better do this or you're going to be outed for, like, kind of what Barron said today on his show, for looking at things online that you shouldn't look at. Or you just have to go along with this. That's option one. Okay. Option two is that maybe he thought he was playing a role in either something or maybe even the assassination, but didn't actually step foot on campus. It doesn't look like Tyler was ever on campus that day. There's like videos and who knows about like his cell phone data pinging somewhere off campus. But the two things that they use as evidence that he was on campus is the rooftop video of the kid running on the Losi Center and jumping off. No one can tell who that is. So we have no clue who that is. Number two is, actually, there's a couple other. Well, hold on, let me finish. The still photos from a actual CCTV video camera of that young man walking down the stairs in the long pants, the black long sleeve shirt, the glasses, the hat, and the backpack. That doesn't look like Tyler at all. Okay. And that's supposedly the photo that the family saw and was like, that's my son. Give me a break. Doesn't look like him at all. Then there's the video, the Ring doorbell camera footage from across the street, from like the Lymans and all of those people on that street. You can't really tell who that kid is, if it's one kid, if it's multiple kids or young adults. So there's nothing really that definitively, that they've shown us at least, that puts Tyler on campus, let alone walking around or near campus. The best footage we have of him is the Dairy Queen footage. That's clearly him. He's clearly off campus, and he's in one of the outfits, like one of the 5 outfits that they said he changed into that day, right after this event, getting food and like not worried at all. Okay. Now, when discussed, and we're going to get into a couple things today, but I wanted to just point out a couple things. Okay. I think anyone, and I'll just leave it ambiguous like that, that is claiming that Charlie Kirk is alive in any way and is seeking to defend, kind of exonerate TPUSA, Erika Kirk, is suspect, in my opinion, because there's so many more facts, not just from that day, but the big picture of like everything that was happening to Charlie before the assassination in his personal life with Philly and everything, his public statements, the pressure he was getting. what he said privately in those text messages that have been released, what has also been shared with us that were private text messages from other people in the group chat, or that Lori Cordoza lady threatening him, veiled threats, or, oh my gosh, I just totally blanked. Oh my goodness. All right. Of course that happened today. All right. It'll come to me. I'm so sorry. Let's get into this first thing, and then it'll come to me, and then I'll finish my thought. I apologize for that, guys. This is something that came up on X today with Tyler Boyer, and then there's a clip of Erika Kirk. That's what it was. All right. After the assassination, how TPUSA and Erika Kirk have completely switched courses on everything Charlie said he was kind of doing, right? If Charlie's alive, which I don't think he is, Candace doesn't think he is, and neither does Barron, and I think a lot of people don't think he is. I think claiming he's alive attacks him, his integrity, his honesty, and who he was. But looking at what TPUSA has done since the assassination, how they've completely turned course on everything Charlie was doing, saying privately and publicly regarding Philly, regarding this war, and the fact that they're putting words in Charlie's mouth and saying, this is what Charlie would say, this is what Charlie would be doing right now. Why would he be doing that if he's alive? I mean, there's no real answer to that on, okay, so I'll grant you this. Let's play devil's advocate. Let's work this out. Okay, he's alive. You think he faked it. Explain everything after the assassination of the stances that he was clearly willing to stand up against Philly and this war. And now TPUSA's gone the complete other direction, and Erika Kirk. And, okay, that we have to take their word on it when Tyler says that Charlie said Erika Kirk was going to be the next president. Like, all of these things are so suspicious that these seem to be clear indicators as to why he's not alive. They're doing all these things now. They didn't do them before. They're saying that Charlie did say them, but there's no verification because he's not here. And they're the only ones that heard him say these things, that she's being pushed on us as this like symbol and this potential running mate to Vance. She's completely defending and supporting Trump and this war and Philly, having Ben Shapiro on, like literally just changing complete course on everything. Why would he be doing that from behind the scenes? It doesn't make any sense. No one, and look, Jesse doesn't have any kind of clear, like, full theory. It's all speculation. Most of it hinges on the fact that there's a movie that came out when Charlie was so little that they're either implying that the movie was written for this event that long ago, Snake Eyes, or what? It just so happened that the characters in it had his name, and then Charlie became who he was, and then they based this assassination off the movie. Like, explaining why they think there's a connection between the movie and the assassination doesn't really ever come out. And the fact that Stacey Sheridan had some sort of connection to like Gary Sinise or something like that means that that's the connection to Charlie and TPUSA. There's these synchronicities with the movie and the names and the event and the date and all that, but it's never really explained like how that then points to that this is connected and that this means they faked it. It's just not. And then a lot of the points that he tries to use in his series, Jesse, a lot of them aren't actual like facts. So that one photo of the tube hanging out of his shirt, it's his necklace. It was caught. You can see it in other photos. I've spoken with people that have photos of that it's his necklace hanging, not a tube. People that have recreated this, they haven't. They've recreated shirt movement. That's it. just shirt movement, and shirt movement that's not the same as that day's event. They can't recreate the breaking of the necklace fully without making it a magnetic clasp instead of an actual clasp. They can't recreate that it flies up over his head. And there's just a lot of things that are left, still completely left unanswered and undealt with. My main issue with the Charlie Kirk's alive theory is what I think it's attempting to do based on what Jesse has said. He wants everyone to stop attacking TPUSA and Erika Kirk. He wants to defend them. He thinks that they're honest, upstanding people, and none of them would do anything to hurt Charlie. And yeah, he wants to defend them. And what was the other thing? Oh, and he wants everyone that's looking into them to stop. So yeah, I just, I don't, oh man. All right. My mind's kind of everywhere. It's been a crazy 24 hours. I'll say that much. There's a lot on my mind. So I apologize if I'm a little scatterbrained today. Okay. All right. This is Tyler Boyer saying that Charlie said Erika Kirk should be the next president or would be president one day or would make a great president. Let's hear what he has to say.
He believed firmly that Erika was going to be president someday.
Do you see politics in her future down the road?
Yeah, it's funny. I had conversations with Charlie about that. So he was like, man, Erika could be so much bigger and better than me at almost everything. We laugh all the time about it because people were like, Charlie was going to be president someday. He believed firmly that Erika was going to be president someday. And so it's a beautiful thing. He believed firmly that Erika was going to be president someday.
You see politics.
Yeah. So does anyone really believe that Charlie Kirk said or believed that Erika Kirk that he firmly believed that Erika Kirk would be president someday? No. And this just goes to, in my opinion, what looks to be the motive, right? And then there's all of these like verified lies about Erika's past, her academic and educational past. And now all of a sudden, and I talked about this last night because we'll continue looking at that podcast and that other video of her and Charlie. But her saying that she's done any sort of education or that she's received any kind of degree in biblical studies or theology to give those Monday morning or midweek rise up, Bible study, breakdowns of scriptures and words is crazy. We thought she had, it doesn't even look like she had a degree in education and Christian leadership, but that was the degree that she was referencing that qualified her to do this. And Barron showed on his show today that she was claiming all these things about her educational past, not just on LinkedIn, on her own personal website, but then it changed, interestingly, to a degree that would make her able to, a biblical studies degree would have given her training and education that could have allowed her to understand how to do exegesis and, learning about historical reconstruction, breaking down the Greek and the Hebrew. And now all of a sudden, that's one of her degrees that she's referencing, that she had a biblical studies degree now. I mean, so her lying about her past when there's so many things in question about the day of September 10th, and then a lot of things that she's claimed after the fact that we just have to take her word for it. I mean, I don't think we can take her word on anything anymore. And so everyone that's like defending her, and a lot of the people seem to all be friends. That's the other thing, right? A lot of the people that are creating content, defending Erika and defending TPUSA, all at the same time are referencing Jesse's video, saying that he's the only one that's created a full working theory that explains that day and that Charlie's alive. They seem to all be in communication with one another, be friends. And at the same time, this theory now is gaining traction. And it detracts and distracts people from, because if Charlie's alive, oh, everyone can go back to work. Yep, nothing to see here. Stop looking into her. Stop looking into TPUSA. Charlie's alive. Everything's fine. It also can create people to be very apathetic. Like, oh my goodness. The conspiracy theories get so crazy, people just tap out and stop being interested in this. And so when looking at the result of someone's video, like what it seems to be the intent for making a video like this does, and what the result is, I think then you can then work backwards to look at someone's motive and intent for doing it. And we even have Jesse's statements of why he said he's doing what he's doing. And so I'm just suspicious of people that are all saying that, and they're doing it all together and in unison. Okay. I just, even if Candace was to come out and say Charlie's alive, I wouldn't buy it. Okay. Like, I would need to see Charlie. That's what would make me believe Charlie's alive. I'd need to see him. I wish he was alive. I don't wish that he planned his and faked his death, because that attacks who Charlie is as a person. That he would be part of this psyop, that he's co-signing this war, that he's co-signing everything TPUSA Erika Kirk is doing and saying, that he would allow everyone to believe that he was dead, that he would allow someone to either be arrested, charged, and possibly convicted for this faked assassination. I just can't, when looking at Charlie, I did watch him. I did feel like I knew him. I didn't know him personally, but he had enough content, and enough of his thoughts and beliefs and his character was online for everyone to see. Everyone did have a good feeling of understanding of who Charlie was. I think that's why the impact of his assassination was so great. You would have to believe that all that was fake then. And that his whole image and everything he said and did was fake, in order for you to believe that he would do something like fake his own death. Yeah. All right, let's get into it. My brain is scattered today. I'll tell you that. Like, I'm trying to get my words together and it's not coming out. So I apologize if I don't see myself. I'm trying my best. Okay. Let's listen to this. This is Erika Kirk, in her own words, Miss Arizona interview. Yeah.
I have respect for the individuals that are in the pornography industry, not because they're degrading women or anything like that, but because that's their field and they are professionals. So I give them credit for being able to have a job and make money and stimulate the economy that way. But I think that there needs to be a way to shield it from the overall public, such as the kids, keep it away from them. But in general, that's a tough one. I really have to say that we live in a free country. So if you want to watch it, turn on your pay-per-view. If not, then why don't you turn on something else that's a little bit more G-rated? Just a thought. I do think it should be legalized. So just take this miniature journey with me for just a second. And instead of looking at the negative side, let's look at the positive side real quick. After watching several documentaries, I do think it should be legalized because it not only has some remedies to some modern day medicines that we use, but it also can be taxed.
It can be taxed. Money. And the reason why she respects people in that industry is because they're making money, not because of what they're, I mean, holy smokes, people can change. I get it, right? I know people can change. But we saw this version of Erika all the way up. Like, when looking back now, really, there's nothing about her in the public before Charlie where she's in any way, shape, or form a Christian and spouting conservative Christian values, morals. she was this version of herself literally up into the day she met Charlie. I mean, looking back now, I mean, it looks like she probably went somewhere and maybe did some training to become, a Christian, and why it looks like she's just repeating Christian phrases and playing a role. But I think it's fair game, right? That someone that they're saying, and Tyler Boyer's not the only one that has mentioned her in the same sentence as the next president or vice president. Frank Turek, Mikey McCoy, and Rob McCoy. They've said it as well. She's in control of a massive, massive organization with a lot of money, power, influence, and control over our country, over our youth. She was foisted upon us. And because we didn't know any better at the time, we accepted it. I don't think we had any other choice. But that time has passed of us oh my goodness. That time has passed of us accepting her without thinking and analyzing everything she said and done. She can't be both, right? She can't have done and said all the things that we're now uncovering and be this thing, this image of herself that she's portraying. And so we have every right, and it doesn't mean we're not Christian, and it doesn't mean we're not respecting Charlie when we are criticizing this individual. Yeah. All right. I want to play a video of a guy that I just found out about last night, that it was sent to me. And if any of these claims are true, they are huge. And I've reached out to him. Hopefully he reaches back out to me and we can confirm or deny how he has sourced this information firsthand or whatnot. I don't know if you guys have heard of this gentleman. Let me actually see the name. I think it's called, The Common Sense Show. All right. And just listen with me as he says some things. And he points some things out that I hadn't really thought of before and that I think are valid and interesting. So let's listen.
I owe Charlie Kirk this broadcast. And it doesn't bring me pleasure. I don't enjoy exposing people's flaws, but it is part of the job. And I think TPUSA is a dangerous organization for the welfare of America and America interests, particularly the Christian religion that tries to remain independent of other religions' influence. But we have someone leading this organization as powerful, who's a total and complete fraud. And I would not refer to this person as a good person. And there's just too much that's happened. And I want to walk.
And he's talking about Erika Kirk.
Back in time. I expressed extreme grief on behalf of Erika Kirk. And very early on, I did not like what I was seeing. I just thought, this is just bizarre. She's not looking like a grieving widow. Well, there'll be good reason for that, as you'll find out. And then it was after about 2 weeks. And it was clear that at the presidential ceremony for Charlie, she was sidelining the parents. It was clear when she began to celebrate the money made instead of grieving her husband publicly. I just said, this is not real. And then her background started to surface. The lies came out. And I'm going to expose some things here. And other people have been saying this for a while. And I thought, okay, I can make my point, but we need to cut the head off the snake. And the snake is TPUSA. And we need to expose Erika Kirk for what she is and what she's done, and the observations that I've made. And feel free to disagree or agree. But I owe this to Charlie, because soon we will leave the Charlie Kirk saga behind for the most part, because we're entering a new saga, the fall of America, because we don't control our destiny as a country.
Right. And that's talking about the whole war with Iran. And I just want to say something on that note. And that Philly totally got us into it. And for whatever reason, Trump and those in our government didn't get us out of it. Barron made a good point today that imagine how big this war means to the people in control. The fact that people in Philly are framing it a religious and holy war so they could rebuild their third temple. That military, high brass, officers, commanding generals are framing it to our troops that this is God's holy war, right? That we can usher in the second coming of Christ, that Trump has been anointed for this moment. The fact that all reasons, when you think of America first, were thrown out the window when they decided to do this. And they did it anyway. And they did it knowing that the majority of the people that voted them into office were not for this and are not for this. I think this is going to be so much bigger than anyone even knows. Trillions of dollars, and the future of whatever, system is being constructed right now with like the surveillance state. And, if we get kind of knocked down from the very top of empire and someone else takes our place like Philly, so much hinges on this that if Charlie was, which he was against this and would have continued to be against this and very outspoken with so many, not just the youth, but I'm not young, I'm 40, right? So many people followed Charlie, listened to him, valued his opinion, believed him, agreed with him, that if he was left here on this earth to continue to do what he was already doing or do it even more, it could have raised a major threat to their success and whatever else is coming. So I think that we can look at what they're doing with this war and connect that to one of the big reasons why Charlie was taken out. And you'd have to discard that, wholesale to believe that he faked his death and is somewhere behind the scenes okay with all of this. He wouldn't be. He said it so many times. So, yeah, we'll continue. I really like this guy, by the way.
And we are bankrupting ourselves, compromising our military security on behalf of another nation, and we're going to have a lot bigger problems than the loss of Charlie. But I owe this to Charlie for what he did for this country. And we lost a great man. He wasn't perfect, but he was a great man. We're going to get into it right here. But first, I want to show you something that I think all of you in these tough times need to be embracing right now. This should be your part of your medical privacy kit, your first aid kit.
Let me pass this. This is his little commercial.
Do I want myhealthback.com? Dilemma and helping my audience prepare for what's coming. I said before I begin to put Charlie in the rearview mirror in history, he'll never be forgotten. And I will do follow-ups as they're appropriate. But before I do that, I had to expose this. I think the most stunning revelation, though, lies outside Erika Kirk. And it's what Baron Coleman did and what Jimmy Dore helped to expose, and I tried to expose it as well, that 3 scanners, police reports, someone trying to get out of the SUV that Charlie was in with the door open? And why didn't the police pull over the car? I think the conclusions are obvious.
And so you don't have to agree with everything everyone says. I think his belief here in stating this, this part of that day is that, I mean, I guess he might believe that Charlie was still alive by the time he was in the car. He's talking about the reports. I don't think the reports actually said that they saw people trying to get out of the car. From the 911 calls I heard, it just that like the doors weren't shut and people seemed to be hanging out of the car. And from my understanding of the events that day, when they tried to get Charlie into the back of the SUV, Rick Cutler and Brian Harple, who were carrying him and put him in that back seat, weren't able to get him in all the way. Charlie was like 6'4", 6'5". Rick and Brian are both, decent sized guys. They weren't able to get him all the way in before they started taking off. And so when you're flying, I don't know, 60 something miles down, city roads, turning, weaving in and out, not obeying traffic laws because you're trying to get them there. And you don't have sirens, so people aren't really, giving way to you. I think they were just bracing and holding him in and holding on while they were, trying to quickly get to the hospital. I don't think anyone. I don't think he was alive still, and I don't know anyone is saying that he was still alive in the car. Yeah. But that's just my opinion on what I think was going on in the car when they were driving and why the police 911 calls seemed to indicate that the doors weren't shut and they kind of saw people hanging out of the doors. I think it was because they couldn't get Charlie in all the way and shut the doors all the way. But they were driving and hauling butt getting to the hospital.
Let's start with Erika Kirk for this. Let's end with Erika Kirk. You people out there want to follow her? You want to follow TPUSA, that's a Christian Zionist organization, part of geofencing America's churches? That should scare the heck out of you. And it also tells you they're not your friend, not if you're really a Christian. But the leader gives me pause. It's now surfaced that Erika was taking acting lessons. And what was the central theme as it's now being reported? How to grieve. And we've seen the dab of the eye out of all the nonsense. It just strikes me as phony as a $3 bill. But the grieving. One of the biggest issues I found in looking at Erika was the response of Charlie. I just remember how supportive my in-laws were when my mom died. And I've seen it in family after family after family. And how did
Yeah, and I'm going to pull up a photo from that day when they're at. Well, actually, there's a couple that I can reference. So when Charlie's mom and dad were on the tarmac, there's a massive space between them and Erika Kirk. And Erika Kirk is being consoled by Stacey Sheridan. There's not one public photo or video that I know of where the parents are consoling Erika or Erika is consoling the parents. When they're at the White House receiving that medal for on Charlie's behalf, there's a huge space in between Erika and Stacey Sheridan. And in fact, it's Erika, Stacey Sheridan, big space, and then Charlie's parents. At no point do I see them together, ever. And I could be wrong, but I don't remember ever seeing video or still photos of them embracing one another in each other's arms. And I think that's telling. I think it's also telling that Charlie's parents were at the memorial, but weren't allowed to speak. That's the only thing that I can, take away is that they weren't allowed to speak. Why wouldn't they want to speak? I get it. They're private. And that I don't even know if that's true. like to the degree in which people are saying it is. I know Candace has said his parents were private people, but they're so private that they wouldn't even want to speak at his memorial. I have difficulty believing that. They were there. There's photos of them backstage. But if there was issues in the marriage, if there were issues with Erika, and they could not guarantee, they being TPUSA, Erika Kirk, and others that spoke that day, if they couldn't guarantee what the parents would say and what the parents wouldn't say, I mean, it's probably why they didn't get to say anything at all. And we'll listen what this gentleman says. He's saying that there is actual, I don't know, hopefully he comes out with it, but I'll let you listen. I'm not going to say it and then he says it and you hear it twice.
Erika, treat Charlie's family. You're shut out. You don't get to speak at your own son's memorial. Instead, you bring on these irrelevant politicians that had no business going out there and spouting the GOP crap. Totally inappropriate for a memorial service. But Charlie's mom and dad and the sister can't be heard. And Eric is facing now a new foe. It's Charlie's mom. I wondered when this was going to happen. Charlie was divorcing Erika.
What?
He had filed the paperwork. He had committed to it also in text messaging. He was 4 days into the process. So much for the Shabbat Shalom. Daddy's home, put the keys away. Well, when Daddy came home from Asia, they slept in separate bedrooms. Charlie took down their wedding photo from the studio. He wasn't wearing the wedding ring. The evidence is so much out there now.
And so he's telling some things that we've never heard before. And then he's telling things that we have heard, right? That they slept in separate bedrooms. Well, we know that he had his wedding ring off. It's been reported by Candace and Barron that there was issues in the marriage. People that were close with Charlie, Barron has spoken with and said, but he hasn't gone on the record with who they are and actually told us anything else about that yet. So I hope that Barron and Candace and this gentleman end up coming out with how they are able to say these things. Because honestly, if these things that this gentleman is saying is true, which I don't know, like, I'm not going to say I'm like the ultimate body language reader. I feel like I'm a pretty good read on people and their character. I feel like, but everyone can be duped and deceived, but it doesn't seem like he's lying to me. It doesn't seem like he's being dishonest, but I hope that this gentleman and Candace and Barron do come forward with how they are making these claims about the problems in the marriage and this whole claim that he had filed for divorce. Because on top of everything else that we already know, right, about the issues with Philly, the issues Charlie had with Philly and the Iran war, how he was changing on his stance completely on like everything, how he was signed up to convert to Catholicism. Now this would put to bed, in my opinion, hands down, the Charlie Kirk is alive thing, because a key component of that theory is that Erika and everyone at TPUSA loved Charlie and could never do anything wrong to hurt Charlie. I mean, it's just my opinion, but it doesn't seem like Tyler getting up there saying that Charlie said Erika. It doesn't seem like they're honest people. It seems like they're completely skewing what Charlie really was about, what he supported and what he didn't. They completely changed TPUSA from what he was doing with it. All of those things by themselves. And they did it so immediately. That video of Tyler saying that, I think was like on the 23rd. I think it was a couple days after the memorial. We know Frank and Mikey and Rob McCoy said it on their podcast, like within the first few weeks after the assassination. It was immediately, they were changing all of these things that Charlie stood for, his stances, his perspectives. They were doing it immediately. They got him out of the way and then changed course immediately. Having Ben Shapiro at Amfest. And like I said before, like if Erika and everyone at TPUSA would have just stuck with what Charlie was saying and doing, and if Erika had just stayed home and raised the kids, none of us would have really suspected anything. It's really, we suspect them because of everything they've said and done since the assassination. That is what is suspicious to all of us. Yeah.
Charlie was separating, and this would have been devastating. A Christian man, Christian marriage,
Yeah.
and he's getting divorced, but he couldn't take it anymore. And they had shouting matches heard by many, and most of it was over Zionist funding for Zionist goals that Charlie opposed. Oh, he didn't? Oh, TPUSA, you want to lie? Well, explain this, the PBD broadcast. He called October 7th a partial false flag with a slow walking response, and then the genocide in Gaza. Those were Charlie's words in that broadcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, my brain is crazy today. I literally just had the words on the tip of my tongue and they just escaped me.
And you want to say, oh, he's friends. Yeah, he turned down Netanyahu's $150 million. He got dressed down on the hand.
I waited too long. Do you guys remember the story that Erika said the night before the assassination, right? That Gigi came in and was doing cartwheels on the bed and Charlie was going to sleep in the other room. But then he was in the kitchen making all this noise while he was cooking. That by itself doesn't even make sense. As a father, at night, if I'm downstairs eating or making something, like I'm being respectful of my wife and kids. I'm not like making so much noise it wakes everyone up in the house. That's kind of crazy. And imagine how much noise you would have to make to literally wake up everyone in the house from just making food. I suspected after that text went out where he said, you know, you guys leave me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. Everyone on that text thread attempts to corral him. It doesn't work. They do a Zoom call, try to corral him. It doesn't work. Then Erika comes and he's like, I can only imagine if what he said in that text continued with that same level of energy afterwards. And the thing that he was hoping his wife would do would be to support him and tell him, you're right, babe. We don't need their money. We don't need them. We can start our own thing. We can do what you want to do and go here and start a whole new organization. But if he didn't find that support and that comfort from his wife, but in fact, she was telling him, you should just play ball. Why can't you just do what they want you to do? Or even worse, that a yelling match would ensue. A big heated argument could follow. And if earlier that night, or it was the night before, that a priest came to pray over their marriage, we're talking 2 days worth of unrest within their relationship. And then the night before he goes to UVU, all that happened with everyone on that text thread and then that Zoom call. And then she's there and he doesn't find that comfort and support from her. Yeah, I think an argument could ensue. And raised voices of the parents definitely trigger a response in kids. And it could have been the thing that woke up Gigi. And that a child, Gigi's age, like 3.5, 4, watching your parents argue, right, and not reconcile, could make sense why that's why she slept in mom and dad's bed, right? and if Charlie didn't want to sleep in the bed as well. Okay. Obviously, these are just my opinions from the information that's out there. But I think it's the most plausible and reasonable explanation for all of these things that we have been told and what we've heard.
Hamptons by the donors. And he says, no, we're not doing that. And he told Tucker on this topic in a presentation for TPUSA to go full max. In other words, criticize the Zionist movement. He wanted to bring back Candace. That's in writing. That's been proven. Yet they want to start this false narrative. Charlie just loved Israel. He may have. But he sure as hell didn't love Netanyahu and the United States being used as their proxy military force. And he was very open about this. But Erika, no, that wasn't the case. Now, was it? I'm just looking at my notes here. I just wonder. Oh, I don't want to put Charlie's mom, in a bad position. I'll let her speak for herself.
So he obviously has either spoken with her or has spoken with someone that has spoken with her. He was about to just make a statement that was a statement from Charlie's mom. And then he walked it back and was like, I'll let her, make her own statement. And I don't know, like, what are some possible reasons why they haven't spoken at all? If they're afraid for their own lives, right? If they believe that their son was assassinated, and not by Tyler, on behalf of Philly, and that everyone at TPUSA and Erika Kirk seem to be part of it, they could be afraid for their own life, number one. Number two, I don't know, maybe they were threatened into signing an NDA and not speaking on anything. It could be possible that by not speaking, them choosing not to speak out, if they don't know yet who killed Charlie, and they still have, they've left a possibility in their minds that maybe Tyler was involved in some way, and maybe they don't want to influence the court case in a negative way if they haven't really made up their mind on that yet. That's another possible reason why they haven't spoken. But I think as parents, if you saw, or, hopefully they didn't see it, but maybe they've seen it, their son get assassinated. And if they knew what this gentleman is saying, they knew about Erika and their marriage and everything that's involving Philly, it would make sense why they would be afraid that speaking out could put themselves and Charlie's sister in danger. So, I mean, there is logical reasons why they possibly haven't spoken out yet.
When Charlie came back from Asia, he came to the house, see the kids, but he did not want to stay in the same bedroom, and he wasn't wearing his wedding ring. Shabbat shalom, right? Daddy's home. Throw the keys in the drawer, right, Erika? And then we have the final email where he was expressing concern over the paternity tests. Erika was being exposed. Is that why she was at Fort Huachuca 2 days before the event, along with the head of security and her ex, or maybe not so ex-boyfriend? There's even stories now surfacing about her being blackmailed and also carrying on with a particular person. I'm gathering info on this, and I'm putting it out there because, Erika, I want you to know, we all know, you can't run from the truth any longer.
I wanted to say, so someone's in the chat is completely misquoting what I said. I never said they were at the State of the Union. The parents were at the White House when Erika was there to receive the medal. Okay. And they were at the memorial. So I'll share this right here. Hold on. Stop. Oh my goodness. I hate it when you play something and it has music in it. My goodness. Okay, his parents are right there. All right. Right there. So this is Charlie's mom. This is Charlie's dad. There's a huge gap, like a chair or two. Then Stacey Sheridan, and then Erika Kirk. And this is when they went to the White House to receive whatever medal that they gave, the Medal of Freedom, I think. Okay, that's what I was saying, where his parents were. And then the parents were at the memorial. There's a photo of them backstage. Let me pull it up. Photo of Charlie's parents. Oh my goodness. Hold on one second. Let me go back. Let me play this while I do that for you guys so you guys don't watch me spell horribly.
Longer. There's the Romanian thing. And here's something people aren't really talking about. When she was a real estate agent in New York, do you know who her firm was connected with? Oh, somebody who owns an island. And then there was the Erika takes over, and 6 days after, and we've made a big deal about this on the show, she's celebrating the money raised. 6 days after Charlie was gone. Exuberant over the money. Wow. Former employees, there was a purge for anyone who was perceived not to be bending the knee to Erika. They all knew Erika wasn't qualified to lead a 7-figure nonprofit.
100%. 100% not qualified. Let me show you guys this. So, as they walk over, we'll see his parents. So there's Erika and Stacey Sheridan, and there's a big space you can see in between, and then Charlie's dad and Charlie's mom. They're not next to each other. They're not consoling each other at all. That's something. That's not nothing. Okay, that's something. I don't know what it is. To me, what it seems like is there's something wrong in that relationship. Because even though like my wife and my mom aren't like best friends, but I mean, my wife loves my mom and my mom loves my wife. If something were to happen to me, they would for sure be consoling one another. At least at some point. At some point. There'd be some photo or video of it. There also would be a video of my mom speaking at my memorial or at my funeral. There just would. So, yeah. All right, let me get back to this guy.
Of course, when you're breaking a lot of finance rules, maybe it doesn't matter. Of course, you put a state senator in charge as a CFO in charge of your finances, and he has no financial experience.
Yeah.
That explains why another senator under Erika's auspices received $4.5 million of almost untraceable money, illegally shuffled from a 501c3 to a 501c4, $4.5 million to a UPS drop box. You know, where's the AG on all this? Where's the IRS? And I'm just going through these notes I have here, and it's a
man, you know, I'll make a list sometime of all of the different suspicious things concerning things that TPUSA has done after the assassination, Erika Kirk and everyone over there. But you'd have to be like, I don't know, like to ignore all those things and be like, those are just all coincidences, or no. All those things point to him being alive. Like, okay, well, a lot of the argument is that like it would require so many people to be involved in the actual assassination that there's no way they could keep it secret. That applies to the fake assassination. What are you talking about? If not more. Okay. And now you have a person you have to hide and he can never be seen again. Like the craziness of what the argument against the assassination that they're using for him faking it is ridiculous. Right. And John Bray is going, it's taken him time to get explosives. He is going to attempt to recreate what we saw that day. No one actually has recreated the whole thing. One person has recreated shirt movement. That's it. Not everything else. And a lot of the things that is claimed that they see in the video, or like Jesse claims, that's his necklace. That's not a tube. The thing on that they point to his back, you see in another photo, it's not even there. So, I mean, all of this like squib stuff and, oh, that they took his blood. Yeah, that's one of the other things they're saying, that, oh, those dots on his arm were that they drew Charlie's blood and used his real blood in, like, I don't know where you would hold it, but like, on him somewhere in some sort of like bladder type thing. And that we actually saw Charlie's real blood that day and that it looked the way it did because it was hot out and it would have done something to the blood. Or John Bray spoke to surgeons, spoke to brain surgeons, traumatic brain surgeons, traumatic brain doctors. And so what we saw that day had to do with his brain, had to do with what part of his neck and what artery was struck. So, I mean, I think it's much more plausible. And I think there's much more evidence, even though we may not have a full working theory as to the entire thing, but that doesn't mean we can't still like say the theory or that theory is not believable. And just because we haven't recreated something, that's not my skill set. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to recreate anything by buying all of the equipment to recreate everything. John Bray's going to do that. He's got way more skills, technical skills in that area. Oh, just because we haven't done that, it means that we can't have an opinion on this is crazy. All right, we're going to move on to here. We're going to finish listening straight up to Erika and Charlie.
I think it's very important that women are.
Hold on, it's
women have
not
their
loud.
Own, whether that's a career or they're invested in something, or they're invested in something outside of the household, whether that's volunteering your time, whether that's having your own company, whether that's homeschooling your kids. I think we all have our own lane and position to play within the relationship.
Well, what bothers you the most when you look at, you kind of touched on this, but the dating landscape when you look at it?
So for me, I just hate wasting time. That's my biggest thing. I never had short relationships. My relationships were always either they were longer. But for me, it's one of those things where I'm not going to waste my time just going out to dinner just for a free dinner. I think that's so tacky. I think it's tacky that you are stringing someone along because you're afraid of being alone. That just never resonated with me. Mm-hmm. And I just knew that.
Do you guys really think that the same individual that went on dating shows and literally like on the show, they're just eating and drinking and hanging out, that she's never gone on a date with someone to go on a date with someone? I mean, some of the things she says, it's just so ridiculous. It's like, but why even make that claim? Like, you're so better than everyone. That's just a normal thing. Like, people go on dates, they go get drinks, they eat dinner. That's kind of a date. You kind of got to do that to find out if you like someone or not. And then she says that, oh, I've never done it just to get the food or the drinks. Like, that's just such a weird, oh, I would never string someone. Those aren't the same thing. Stringing someone along and going, it's just so nuts. Some of the things she says.
There was no reason for me to compromise. And the thing that drives me nuts too is when you ask someone who they're dating or who they're wanting to marry, they have this list. I don't know if you had a list. I didn't have a list, but like I know some people who have a list that is easily 30 items long.
Like they're building a teddy bear.
100%.
Build-A-Bear.
Right. They need to be 6.
My God, Charlie's so innocent. Like they're building a Build-A-Bear. I used to take my kids to Build-A-Bear. You know, that's what popped in his mind. And here's the other thing. She'll say things in the negative, right? Like as if those are something I think it's in her mind because it is something she did. Okay. You look at Cabot Phillips. Okay. You look at JT Massey. You look at, I don't know that basketball player's name. These guys, I mean, remember when she was like, you got to be very intentful with, you know, who you date and what kind of person they are. I mean, you didn't do that at all ever until Charlie. Charlie's the first person that it seems like you dated like Charlie. In fact, all the other people seem to all be alike. And Charlie is the one that's different. And I bet she did have a list. I bet Charlie was at the top of the list. The list might have not been big. It might have not been long, but I believe he was at the top of the list. I believe her mom probably helped her write the list. I bet her mom was like, Charlie's at the top of the list. Her mom went with her, was wearing an earpiece, a communication earpiece when they were in Philly, when they were in Philly for the moving of the embassy. Who was she talking to? What kind of op was being ran that day? I think that Erika almost running into Charlie so many times on the behest of Tyler and Lori before they finally do that that sit down and meet at Bill's Burgers is so suspect. I can't say that enough. I didn't have someone or my parents or myself almost run into my future wife 4 different times. Like if you're in a small town or you went to school to who you ended up marrying, or there's, you're not separated a lot from the person you ended up marrying, I could understand that. But we're talking like these people were not connected in any way. That she almost ran into him so many times, did run into him at his headquarters because of Tyler, that she was brought to the 2015 rally by Tyler, and she knew Tyler before that. They lied about when they actually met, how long they actually knew each other. And then Tyler's the one that got the sit-down meeting in New York for them. Tyler's the one saying now, back in September, that Charlie said she would be president someday. In fact, that she was better than me in every way. Give me a break. How is that not suspicious? Oh, and that's something Charlie would be telling, because remember, in the theory, Charlie's the one writing the scripts, telling everyone what to do. He's pulling the strings. Oh, where does that fit in? Okay.
Foot 5. They need to be
Perfect
XYZ. They need
jawline.
right. Like all these things. And you literally are looking at them like, are you trying to create a Sims player? Like there's no way you're going to be able to see. There's certain things you need to compromise on and be realistic with. And God has prepared for you someone who is amazing and someone who is worthy of your heart and your love. And why would you want to forfeit that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's people that are emailing us a lot, and they say, I have given up all hope. I'm never going to find anyone.
Right.
What can I possibly do? And again, I think that before looking outward and getting bitter, you should look inward. and try and say, how am I going to prove myself worthy of actually wanting to be with somebody? At least that's on the male side. I don't know if it's necessarily.
Well, and how would you recommend them looking inward?
On the male?
Yeah.
Stop doing addictive things that make you less likely to be productive.
Okay.
So chemically addictive, obviously substances. And for men, I think it's a different issue because the young men.
And I mean, I could be wrong, but once again, when looking at her body language, how she asked that question and watching her listen to the answer, it's like she's hearing this for the first time, Charlie's opinion on this, and she doesn't know what his thoughts are on this. And I mean, they're already engaged. That's kind of what this episode was doing. It was telling everyone that they were engaged. I just can't get it out of my head. All of the things that she said and done since the assassination. And then now, as we've all looked back over the years, everything, who she really was before. I mean, take into that interview that she did on the Miss USA thing. Come on. But she was supposedly a Christian at that time. Because remember, in this podcast, right? Where is it? In this one, where she's talking about how, she dealt with different challenging questions that would cause a Christian who's in the pageant, arena to feel uncomfortable to answer with a Christian answer. And she was saying in that podcast that you need to just stick to your faith and proclaim it and not be ashamed of it. Okay, talking about the pea industry and talking about, legalizing, M. How is that Christian? How is her response, her sticking to her conservative Christian beliefs? It's not. And so she says these things all the time. Like Baron and Candace has said before, like, this is who I'm in front of today. This is who I need to be today for this person, for whatever this event is. And then she's at a different event in a different setting, in a different environment with different people. And she's like, okay, no, this is who I need to be today. Like, she's a chameleon. And she's like a shapeshifter, depending on where she is and who she's with. She's not consistent across all settings. The things that she claims is completely contradictive. Someone that's dishonest like that over many years of dishonesty. And we're supposed to take her at her word about where she was leading up to the assassination, on the day of the assassination, what happened after the assassination, what the doctor said, what Charlie said before the assassination about her, about Philly, about him being afraid for his life, about leaving the pro-Philly cause, about being a Catholic. She has made so many statements which have ended up being proven false. There's no other way to look at it. She lied. She's lied a lot. And here, let's play this so that you guys can hear Baron's take on it.
Patsies and potential patsies, and patsies gone wrong, and patsies who audio's in and out. Really?
No, it's not.
I have very deep concerns about their plans for Erika Kirk. Very deep concerns about the plans for Erika Kirk. And if I'm right, I've got to get really bad cop with Erika Kirk. And it can't be pretty. And we've got to really evaluate her life. And I'll tell you what I mean by all that in just a little bit. But first, I want to go back to a page we keep going back to time and time again, believe it or not, because we have discovered yet even more lies on this page. This is Erika Frantzve's LinkedIn page. This is her education section. You remember last time we were together, or recently, We talked about this line down here in the middle, Arizona State University, this Bachelor of Science, Political Science and International Relations. And we discovered they didn't even have an international relations major at the time. It could not have been a double major. Then we see.
What's that? She's lying about everything, about her educational history. Okay.
This claim of summa cum laude here. We realized after we had to call the university and get them to forward us a copy of the program, she was in fact not in the program listed as summa cum laude. Well, Daisy noticed something different. She went up here to this Doctor of Education, EDD Christian Leadership, also strangely summa cum laude, as was her Juris Master degree, summa cum laude, as was her 1 year at Loyola Marymount. You can't graduate summa cum laude in 1 year. And this here, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. So, but this was listed on her LinkedIn page. So Daisy looks and says, did she really get a Doctor of Education? Is she Dr. Erika Kirk?
No.
Why would she have claimed that? So we instantly set out the way you would.
And Glenn, yeah, the Vance Kirk website is insane. Insane. I wonder if we'll ever find out who did that.
Try to find if somebody had the degree they claim to have. First thing you do is go and see, is there a portal where we can look and see people who graduated in given years? Well, she said she graduated in the year 2022. Her name was either Frantzve or Kirk, so we can look them up both ways here. This is all the people, no Frantzves in 2022 in Liberty University.
Huh.
So we'll try Kirk. There are some Kirks.
Not her.
But there are no Erika Kirks.
Huh.
There are no Erika Kirks here. They're actually.
But all this means nothing, you guys, because Erika Kirk's a daisy. She's totally innocent of everything. And her and Charlie were totally in love. And, you know, she's not a liar. And she's totally honest. And, yeah, her and Charlie and everyone at TPUSA planned his fake assassination, and they're all on the same team. Yeah, 100%.
People who graduated with the degree she claimed, this EDD in educational leadership. There's Stacy Amanda Coleman Kirk. No relation, ladies and gentlemen. We're not the same. I'm not related to Stacy Amanda, not that I know of. And then Kirk Dwayne McDonald. There, okay, yeah, no, not there.
No.
So then you start to think, well, maybe a different year? Well, trust me, we went all through. Well, we go to the web archives. Here is a web archive from May of, what year date is this? May 12, 2021. I'll pull it up so that you guys can see it as it populates. This is the archive of her page. You can see her there on the right, some rando guy on the left. This is her page. It's erikafrantzve.com/about. And if you go down to the about page, you look at the education. Well, there it is. Liberty University, Doctorate in Education and Christian Leadership. It's right there, plain as day. Says she's got a double major. We've already proven that we don't think that's accurate. In my opinion, that's inaccurate. So that's a lie, I think.
Right. And so I'm not going to play this whole video. Most of us already sat through the whole thing. But the point is just this, right? She lied time again. Not just a long time ago. Yes, a long time ago, but also recently. So, bleh. All right. Man, there's something I want to get off my chest. I probably seem a little different today because I've been dealing with a lot of, I don't know, heat from other creators privately. And, you know, I think this space I've just found out is, which I don't know, I must have been pretty naive. It's a very toxic space among other people. I'm not trying to create drama in any way. I don't want to fight or anything like that with anyone. I'm not trying to slander anyone. I'm not. My only critique of certain individuals, and it wasn't wholesale. It was just like this one thing is that, people saying that Charlie Kirk's alive and why they're saying that and what the intent and the outcome is makes me suspect of them. And everyone referencing Jesse's video and things that just made me very distrusting of certain people that are all doing that, and that they're all doing it at the same time and they're all doing it together. And so, but also, I want to just get back to kind of what I was doing, which is just doing me and this channel and you guys. And so I'm definitely not going to be trying to collab with anyone at all. I don't think Candace is a bad actor in this. I don't think Baron is. That's just my personal opinion. I don't really know who else to trust at this point. And so we do really good on our own, just me and you guys. That's all I could ask for. That's all I want. And so that's just what I'm going to stick to and focus on. And I'm going to stay out of other people's stuff. I mean, however, what this channel is and what I do is I do comment on other people's content and other people. I give my opinion, and I'll do that still. But I just, I think I've come to find out I have to be very careful of who I associate myself with, who I talk to, and who I don't. So yeah, that's kind of what's been going on. But all right, let's continue. I'm going to go back to this because I think this is very interesting, looking at how Erika acts, what she says, what she doesn't say, and things like that.
Have been beat down so much. And I think that women are being pushed into positions that they're not actually always comfortable with. I think there's some young ladies that literally just, I don't want to say literally just, but they want to become a mother and a wife, but they feel that's not the right thing to do at age 24, 25. Why not?
Right.
That's okay.
Right.
And why have to go work at some awful company in San Francisco for a couple of years? Why? And then they start to realize that it's actually a lot harder to find somebody worthwhile to go build a family or go do
and in those cities especially, that's the hardest thing. It's like in those types of cities, it's not like you can just run into someone. So a lot of those people that do go to those big cities hope to find someone in the church, and that's where it gets kind of messy, because when
she's saying that because she's talking about herself. So like I think she's still like learning, like figuring, she's still trying to figure Charlie out in his entirety. He makes a statement about young women pursuing career before family, and that they're drastically misled and that they're misinformed, and that they make that decision without a full understanding of why they're making that decision. Erika was that person, is that person. And now she's putting forth this hypothetical, women in those big cities do it this way, and they try to find someone in the church. Who did she date at any point in her life when she lived in cities like New York that was from the church? No one. No one that we know of. Okay, if someone pops out, all right, I'll correct it. But all of those athletes, no. Cabot Phillips, no. So who? But she's trying to give this kind of out for her, not talking about her, not telling him that she's talking about herself, but she's talking about herself. Women that live in big cities like that are trying to find men in the church. You didn't. What are you talking about?
you go to a Bible study that's co-ed and people are single, everyone's just like sniffing each other. Like, are you single? Are you single? Will you want to go get coffee? And it's just that weird tiptoeing around.
It's really not a Bible study.
No, not at all, which is unfortunate. And that's for a whole nother topic at another time. But I think there becomes almost this desperation of I'm running out of time. And I think people forget that God is the author of time, and he knows exactly when you need to find that person and when you need to settle down and where you.
Guys, yeah, I'm going to keep playing it, but because my mind is so difficult today. If something pops into my head, I'm going to say it. Okay. it wouldn't have taken much for Erika Kirk to do to convince Charlie that she was a good candidate. She's beautiful. Okay. Check. She's saying all the right Christian things. Check. And because he doesn't like know her, he just has to take her and how she acts from that day and every day forward. Regarding that, she says, yep, she wants to be a wife. She wants to be a stay-at-home mom. She wants to be a Christian mom that raises her kids. She doesn't have aspirations like to live in the corporate sector and to be a boss babe. And there would have been really not much else she needed to do. Like, that's kind of the bar, right? A Christian, godly, pretty woman that wants to be married and have kids and raise the kids. That's it. He's not looking for anything else. Okay. She's articulate. She's not like come across as the most intelligent person. And that's why the whole statement, like Charlie wanted to run the company. Charlie said she was going to be president. Dude, we all have eyes. We all have ears, and we all have a brain. We're watching the same person. None of us came to that conclusion. Not once, not ever, not from any of her appearances and speaking engagements did we sit back and go, whoa, dude, we're looking at the first female president. Holy smokes. Do you guys see this? Wow. Wow. No, not at all. Not at all. Charlie wouldn't have saw that either. Okay. And given this, his pretty conservative and traditional perspective on roles in the church, and I'm not saying that this is what everyone has to believe, but women leading a church is not a pretty, historically traditional stance. Okay. And therefore, a woman leading a Christian organization, no. A woman running the country, no. Charlie wouldn't have been for any of those things. He just wouldn't have. Just on the biblical stance alone, he wouldn't have. What are we to do with this? That means they're all lying. It means Tyler and Erika are lying. They're lying when they said Charlie said this. They're making it up. It is a not true statement. Why would somebody be lying? Well, yeah, if he was filing for divorce, if he was leaving, and then that old man, I'm not saying that in a derogatory term. That older gentleman that we were watching, his podcast, he goes on to say too that Charlie questioned the paternity of the kids. And I don't know if it was both kids or one or the other kids. But think about this, right? Charlie traveled a lot. I've never really seen a lot of video. I know that it exists of him with his son, but I see a lot of videos of him with Gigi. And I'll say what I have to say, and then I'll explain why. Erika was able to travel a lot with Charlie before Gigi, right? So there would have been ample opportunity for them to make a baby together before Gigi. She would have been able to travel with him everywhere. They would have still spent like all their time together, whether he was on the road or at home. And in fact, we kind of know that from other people's account, in Candace's as well, that she was on the road with him all the time. But after Gigi was born, his stance was clear: wife, mother, home, baby, raise, house, take care. That's her role. That's where she needed to be. That was her duty. And so, and he didn't want the kids to be very public. Okay. He wouldn't have had her on the road with him with Gigi being born. She would have been home. So there would be less opportunity and time for them to have made their son. And, early on in a pregnancy, when you go in for ultrasounds, they can pretty much date the date of conception. Maybe not to the exact day, but within a couple days. I know that from when I went with my wife, when we had the ultrasounds, they could even tell the difference in the twins and when they were conceived. Totally different dates. because of the size of the embryo. And so I think if he knew, like, well, I wasn't even home during that time period. Like, why would he have ever began to question paternity if this is a factual statement? Well, okay, maybe if he didn't look like Charlie, okay. If he looked at baby photos of himself and then baby photos of his son, and he's like, he doesn't look like me at all. Okay. But if he also just did the math backwards and was like, we weren't even with each other for like a week or a 2-week period during that time. I was on the road, you know? So if that is something that comes out to be true, I could understand why he might have questioned paternity based on timeline on if they were or weren't together when the conception of that baby was supposed to have happened.
You need to be. And I think that for me, that's one of the most precious things is having that relationship with Christ, knowing, okay, where am I supposed to be at this time? Where am I supposed to be living? You know, what am I supposed to be doing to further the kingdom, and really being vulnerable and open to making sure that you stay within the confines of God's will and living a life that's glorifying to him.
We're super excited.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a very exciting chapter despite all the nonsense happening in our country and the world.
What is the one question that you're annoyed of getting?
Well, when is the wedding?
That drives me nuts.
We just got engaged. I can't go to a wedding, let alone host a wedding.
We don't even know what time we're leaving the office, let alone.
How am I supposed to host a wedding? I can't have 8 people over for Thanksgiving.
Plus, I'm not a huge wedding person. I am, but
that's
I'm
unusual
not, like,
for women. Usually, their
I have
entire
not been.
life
I
centers
know
around the wedding.
Planning a wedding since they were 5. That's not me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that question.
Question.
That's bizarre. That's weird. That's just weird. Okay, I get that in a general sense, she could not be like into all the traditional like trappings of a wedding and everything, all the pomp that goes into it. But come on, so you're marrying someone that is very affluent, right? Is very successful. You're supposedly madly in love with him. You wouldn't be into it now. Like, I could understand why like she might have held the I'm not into weddings before Charlie. But if you're like madly in love and he's your soulmate, which she's claimed every day since September 10th, and even before then when they were alive together, when he was alive and they were in public settings together, how would she not want this amazing, beautiful wedding where she gets to proclaim her love and commitment to the man that she believes God brought into her life? And the fact that they would have the finances to have a beautiful wedding. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a J-Lo or a freaking Kardashian wedding, but it would be a beautiful wedding. How would she not be excited about that? How is she not excited to start her life with him and to start raising a family? I'm just not into that kind of thing. Yeah, that's not normal for women in our society, even though I know they exist. Not all women are all the same. I know. But I mean, they're young. They're both good looking. Charlie's clearly madly in love with her. She claims to be madly in love with him. They have the money to have a nice wedding. What's the issue? Why would you not want that? I don't know. I don't get it.
I mean, and then it's just timeline. It's just kind of
Timeline, yeah.
But
figuring it out.
Which she ends up not remembering. And, you know, Mystic brought something out to me that if Charlie was changing in as he found out more about Erika, like in that last year or two, and he began to really suspect her as not being who she said she was. Watching, like, if you go back and watch clips of them over the years, it does seem there's a little shift in the end. He would have still put on a great face, you know, for the most part. And it would take a really keen eye that really knew and watched Charlie adamantly to really pick up on some of the things. They're pretty subtle. But if he knew that, you know, she wasn't really who she said she was and was in it for the right reasons, the marriage, asking her questions in front of a massive audience that he already knew she might not know. I mean, that's pretty telling, right? Because like there's many times where she doesn't remember the wedding date or their engagement date or the date of their first whatever. He does. He remembered all the dates. He remembered everything. And he's like, but Erika doesn't. I mean, that's just so, it's just so interesting to me. I know you can't draw conclusions from one of these data points. I know that. I'm not. But I'm just saying, when you look at everything, all of it, all of these little individual data points become a little bit more suspicious then, because then enough of them together rise up to be this mountain of suspicious data points. I'm not the only one. I've talked to quite a few people about this. So,
Well, I think for me, it's people saying like, "Let me see the ring."
Yeah,
It drives me nuts.
that's definitely
Why?
a common question,
It's
right?
so, and I get it and I respect it, because there's a lot of people who are excited about seeing, you know, but to me, it was always so tacky when girls would take a photo
I'm so excited I'm engaged.
with their hand in front of their face. Right. Or
you know what it is, you guys? I get it. I get it now. So her attempt to portray herself as this like Mother Mary figure that has no vices, that has not 1 inch of materialism in her, that is not concerned at all with pretty typical things that young women in our culture do care about, like having a beautiful wedding or, you know, the fact that they got married and that they have a beautiful ring. So she's trying to portray that all these things are beneath her. I don't even care about the ring. I don't even care about the size of the diamond. I don't even care about the dress. I don't even care about the wedding. Give me a break. Look at everything publicly. She cares. She's always adorned in jewelry. Always. Like a grip. There's even like memes out there where she's just like blinging it out. And it's not fake. It's not knockoff. It's real. Give me a break. It's real. She cares. She's always dressed to the 9, which is fine. I would suspect nothing less. But to say then you don't care about the wedding, it's not something that even crossed your mind, it's not a big deal to you, I don't even care about the ring. In fact, I hate it when people are asking me about my ring and about the wedding, and it's just like BS. Stop lying. You're not that great. No one is that perfect that everything you've ever done in your life is completely selfless reasons. Like all of you joining pageantry, selfless. Never did it because I liked the way I looked or that I wanted a career in showbiz, or never thought that I was photogenic. I just wanted to do philanthropic, duties in my pageant role. It was just for other people. The whole reason why I did pageantry was to serve everyone. I started all these nonprofits purely to serve everyone. All of it. She's trying to pass everything she's ever done as if it's through this lens that she's just like this, like super Christian, godly, perfect, virtuous, pure, innocent woman. It's so over the top. It's so clearly BS. It's fake. That no one is like that. No one. No one. Okay? No one. I like watching Charlie.
so excited.
or they'll put their hand out.
That's
They'll-
just a picture of their hand.
Right. And then the man is blurred in the background. We talk about like disenfranchised men. But
It's
no.
like, I'm so sad I'm engaged. Just look at this. Look at it. Look at it again.
Just keep looking.
I know. Jeez. Oh my gosh.
Burn your retinas. But no, it's one of those things where it just I don't find look, the most important thing to me out of all of this is that this is a covenant that you and I are
Mhm.
making with God. And that is where I want the focus to remain. Whether that's with us or everyone else that sees us from the outside, it's not, you could have literally have gotten me a piece of thread.
String.
That's such BS. That is such like when they're writing up the things that they want her to say, they're literally like writing up a textbook perfect response. A dude wouldn't have wanted to hear anything else, you know? A girl that doesn't care about how big her wedding is, a girl that doesn't care about the ring, the size, she doesn't care about flaunting it. She doesn't care about any of those materialistic things that most all women, even in innocent and reasonable ways, care about those things in one way, shape, or another. But not Erika. No, she just cares about the covenant. It's just so blatantly BS, man. Like, I just can't. Like, not everything she says is got to be so perfect, and that the way she's trying to portray herself as just so perfect, and they've all tried to connect her to Jesus's mother. She's done it herself about like witnessing her son, you know, murdered in front of him, her witnessing, like she's done this connection herself to Jesus's mother, Mary, and others as well. She's so holy. Meghan, we were talking about Meghan Markle with my father-in-law. I'm talking about Megyn Kelly. Oh my gosh, I couldn't think of it. Megan's like, you just seem to have such a true, better connection with God than all of us. Like, you just seem like, whoa. I'm surprised you're not floating and there's not a halo over your head. Like, give me a break, man. Give me a break.
Yes. A ring pop.
But that's advice to men is don't go cheap on the ring. It's true. You have to be invested.
What is the statistic? And what do they say the percentage of your
It's supposed to be 1 month's salary.
1 month salary?
I think that's right. Yeah.
I don't know.
For young people out there, if you want to find meaning, find something worth taking responsibility for.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but it's been a fun journey, fun ride.
It's just getting started.
Yeah. I'm grateful for you.
Thanks for joining the Charlie Kirk Show.
Man. If we could have known and someone could have warned him, it's just so tragic. That's the thing that bothers me the most. People saying that he's alive, that he planned his fake assassination, that he would be willing to lie to all of us and be part of this psyop bothers me. I've always cared about truth. I've cared about corruption, and I don't like it when people slander people for no reason. And this does that to Charlie. And so anyone even remotely claiming it, oh, it's not innocent. It's not. And it bothers me. Okay. I'll read some of your guys' super chats. Let's see. We got Rami, Positive Space, new member. Thank you, Rami. Welcome to the team. Glad to have you here. I'm biased. Yeah. But I mean, just from everyone's own admission or their own take on the community, that it's a great community. And it's, yeah, I think one of the best communities on YouTube for sure. Mystic, thank you for the super sticker. Thank you. What we got here? Oh, Mystic, thank you. Mystic, you gotta stop. Thank you, Mystic. You're the best. Courtney Kimbler. Matt, you do an amazing job, and I'm sticking with you all the way till the end. Keep being you. Thank you, Courtney. I appreciate that. One Katie degree. You bring a side others don't. Think deeply through it all and touch on psychology aspect. The space can be very toxic. A lot has been, balancing, bringing truth while bringing good fruit is key. I agree. Thank you. One Katie degree or a one Katie degree. Sorry, I didn't see the A. It's been a really long 48 hours with last night's stream. I thought did so well. I was so excited for it to post and after we were done going live, and then to see it get hit with that copyright was like what the heck. And then like when looking at it, what they claimed was crazy because I always pause and I add comment and criticism on everything. I'm never just playing anyone else's content and just like playing it. So I just, that kind of threw me through a loop. And then a lot of this other stuff with other creators kind of has just been weighing me down. And I'm just kind of, I'm over it. And so I just wanted to get back to the basics, which is just me and you guys. And we've done so fine without anyone. We don't need anyone. I've wanted to do collabs because like I'm new to this space and I thought that's just something that is good. I've seen other channels do it and it seemed to be something that people liked. I liked Greg, Entheogenic Esquire, no drama. If I do a collab, I'll do a collab with him again for sure. Okay. He was great. But there's just so much else going on right now in this space that I can't make 2 cents of like who to trust and who not to, and what's happening and getting drug into stuff. And it just, I don't want anything to do with that. I love you guys. You guys love this community and this channel. And this channel has never had help from anyone. Okay. We didn't have some big name creator, content YouTuber give us our break. We didn't show up on someone that's an established creator show and have them help get this channel to where it is. This channel got to where it is because of you guys and because of me together. That's it. And we don't need anyone else. We don't need anyone else, So I'm going to keep the circle small. And yeah, that's it. Oh, wait, we got another. It says, knowing everything we know, I don't know why Tucker did a GoFundMe. It's weird to me. Well, he did that early on, didn't he? Well, and it wasn't a GoFundMe. It was like go and send me or something like that. I can look into that. I'm pretty sure that was like really early on. We didn't know anything for a while. And remember, even like the early appearances of Erika for the most part didn't really bring suspicion to like certain individuals in the space already. I think they were just taking her at face value. I do think giving them more money is suspicious. I agree with that. I'd have to look back at the timing when Tucker did that. I'd have to look back at that because if he did that after a certain date when things were already pretty, like some red flags were for sure going up already. And I don't know where I know he he's questioning the official narrative. I think I know that. I don't know if he's suspicious of Erika though, and anyone at TPUSA, which I don't know why. You know, and I wonder if he talks to Candace. But I mean, here's the other thing. A lot of big creators with their platform, and well, I mean, he does things all the time that that could jeopardize the channel. So I mean, maybe that's not true, that he's just not wanting to do something that could jeopardize his platform or his channel. I mean, what could jeopardize it more about being against Philly and Iran? That's like the biggest thing. So I don't know. I don't know why. But I do think, depending on the timeline, as when he did that go and send me or whatever it is, could be weird. It could be not though too, you know. He could just be very trusting of her and maybe doesn't know much, and maybe he doesn't watch everything. Like, can you imagine how busy Tucker is, that like maybe he doesn't, with all the traveling he does and the shows he does, interviews, the prep work that it takes for him alone to do his show. Do you really think he has a lot of time to watch other people's shows in their full entire form? Probably not. So kind of like Charlie, he'd have to like delegate that out to someone and be like, hey, look into this. I've heard this. Can you look into this for me? I don't know though. I'm just speculating because I don't know. I don't know Tucker. But yeah. Wait, what does that say? Tucker Carl said on Theo Vaughn that Charlie was at his house the night before he left to go on tour, and that would be September 9th, which I was shocked to hear. I'd have to go back and listen to that. You said that Charlie was at Theo Vaughn's house or at Tucker's house. Doesn't Tucker live in the middle of nowhere in a different state? I don't think he lives in Arizona. I don't know. I'd have to look into that. I do agree with this. Wait, let's see. I need to read the whole thing before I say that. I saw the first 4. Tucker just loves Charlie. That's all he did was try to help his kids. He has a company called Zen, and he literally just put all of his money towards helping the babies. I'm sure he did not know. I agree with you, Crystal. Yeah. Yeah. I think him doing what he did is innocent. I don't know that he would know, like, have the time to investigate all this stuff that we have seen and heard on Erika and TPUSA. But I mean, I think what a lot of people are wanting us to do, and with all of this stuff, is that if the conspiracies involve, like, start to encompass like everyone, and you know, the conspiracy becomes so great and so grand, it's just going to make everyone not trust anyone. And then no one's going to listen to anyone, and everyone's going to be like, I don't trust you. And everyone's just going to tap out on everything. And I don't agree with that. I feel like I can trust Tucker. I feel like I can trust Candace. As of right now, I feel like I can trust Barron. That's kind of the biggest people that I listen to that I believe I can trust. And, you know, any kind of theory that starts to say that like everyone is in on this some way, shape, or form, or can't be trusted, I think the outcome is the thing that makes me question why someone would be saying that. And so, yeah. Let's see. Does anyone have, did I get them all? I got them all. All right. Yeah, this was the last one I got, right? Yeah. Thank you for that, by the way. How do you say that? It is Villagas J87. I think that's how you say it. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly. But Let's see. We're at 2 hours. That's a pretty good stream. If anyone has any last words, yeah. All right. Sorry, I was reading some of the comments. I got to stop because then I'll just be like staring at the screen. All right, you guys. Thank you guys so much. Oh, one thing I didn't do tonight. Can you guys please help out and hit the like and hit the subscribe? It's the best way that you can help the channel. And then once the video posts, we don't get credit for any of the live chat comments. If you can hop over to the video and just like a 2-word comment, like great video, great stream, great topic. I don't know, something super small. It helps that video, and yeah, that would be amazing. So I'd appreciate that. I see you, Apocalypse Now. Hold on. Apocalypse Now. Thank you for the super. Here's one more. Thank you so much, Apocalypse. I appreciate you guys, and I really appreciate this community. And yeah, I'm going to just stick to what we've been doing this whole time, which is just us doing our thing together. I think that's what's made it great. And I think that's what's made it such a nice, tight-knit community. And, yeah, we don't need anything from anyone. We can do our thing together, us. So I appreciate you guys. I do love you guys. Thank you for all your love and support. I hope you guys have a great night. Get some good rest, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. God bless you guys. Bye.